Much for asking to and I really just honor this opportunity because I know how valuable it is when I can help my team learn from other jewels and stuff. And so just a little tidbit, I am moving tomorrow. And so right now I'm in a hotel and my kids are literally locked in the next room. So we are moving tomorrow afternoon. So we're in a hotel for the night. So if there's some crazy that comes in, there's my disclaimer right now. But yes, I joined Plexus just over 6 years ago, and my story is one that I found really, really relatable because I started as a brand new mom. I had the new mom fatigue. I had the weight to lose. I had the irritability, the sugar cravings. That was me. And I went on to find out that I had Hashimoto's hypothyroidism. So not only do I have thyroid issues, I have an autoimmune disorder. So there's a lot of things that we're compiling that, as you guys all know how amazing Plexus is, Plexus just completely rocked my world and changed everything for me to, sleeping well, more energy, no more irritability, no more sugar cravings, lost the baby weight, all of that. I had a wonderful second pregnancy and postpartum journey, helped me with my milk supply, all those things. So I was like a really just rockin' new mom story. And I found that. And so I grew really quickly in the beginning, and I went emerald in less than 2 years. And I grew and grew and grew and grew. And I think that God allowed me to have that growth early on because he knew that I was about to have some serious struggle in my life. And a few years ago, my mom passed away right after the birth of my second child. And I also moved states. I moved away from all of my friends and family, everything that I knew for a job of my husband's. And so I had a move, a baby, and a death. And a week later, my grandmother died. So I had like my world totally turned upside down within like a few week span of time. And Plexus, the business, the team, the people, the leadership, they kept me going. It was not something that I could walk away from. It wasn't something that I could quit. They weren't people I could quit on, but it was something that I was able to, open my laptop and see people that cared, that loved us, that, were there when I needed someone and would listen and pray for our family. But also, guys, an opportunity that paid me when I literally could not work. I couldn't do it. And so I think that if that much trauma had happened to me really early on in my journey, I don't know that I would have been able to work through it, right? So I think God really rewarded my consistency, my all-in attitude, my work ethic, and my enthusiasm for this opportunity by allowing me to grow really quickly, knowing what was coming in my life, right? So I really want you to appreciate whatever speed you're at right now. If it's a place where you need to grow, or a place that you need to rest, or a place that you're like, I'm feeling like I can sprint right now, I want you to harness that energy and dive into it, because there's a reason that you feel that way. And you need to kind of learn what that is for your life and your journey. And, there's sometimes when you need to like assess the situation, right? Sometimes you're like, you know what? I got a lot of stuff going on right now. Let's decide what's most important. Where should I spend my energy, right? I don't need to be all the things to all the people all the time. And that's what's going to leave us totally burnt out. And kind of relating to burnout is one thing that I have found has really become my wheelhouse in this business is organization and time management, because I had a lot of things kind of fall on my plate all at once. And I needed to learn how to have tunnel vision in this business and decide where my business priorities needed to lie so that I wasn't spending a lot of time just dinking around, not getting a lot done. I wanted to make sure that the time I spent working was like valuable, profitable, productive time. And I have a lot of people that, tell me that I don't have time, or I'm too busy, or maybe they sponsor a ton of people and they got a lot of level ones and they're like, I don't know what to do. I don't have a system. Like, I don't know what's going on. I was one of those people who sponsored a ton of people. I had runners join me in the beginning. My team grew quickly and I had to figure it out before I had people falling through the cracks. But then when my life kind of got flipped upside down, I decided that I wasn't going to be a slave to this business. I was going to allow it to fit into my life and not have to design my life around this business, right? It's a very different perspective to say, you know what? No, I'm just going to spend maybe an hour or 2 hours weekdays working my business, and it's still going to be a rockin' business in momentum. And it's possible. I know that it's possible because I'm doing it and I'm teaching my team to do it. And so hopefully my kind of tips can help you guys, because a place that I feel like I've really come to grow and become really, really good at. And so I don't want you to feel like you're someone who thinks they're too busy or you don't have time for things. There's ways that you can reassess your priorities to make sure that you are running a successful business while still having fun and really living a fulfilling life outside of Plexus, right? I don't want you to get burnt out trying to do it all. And so the keys to kind of making this all happen are proper time management, staying organized, and having systems, right? If you're somebody that has Post-it notes floating all over your house and people are getting lost and all that, this is for you. Or if you feel like you've got lists and notebooks and things and like you don't know what's what, right? This is for you. And you know, I might step on a few toes, but if you're someone who's said like my personality type or my Enneagram number or whatever, right? Like I'm just a disorganized person. I don't have discipline, right? It's time to put your little personal growth hat on for a second and change that. Okay. Because you're a business owner. So if you're not running an organized business, it's probably not going to go well, right? You can't scale well. If it's chaos now, it's just going to be even more chaos later, right? So let's get it under control. Because being stuck in that place of chaos and overwhelm and stress doesn't really do any good for anybody. And it surely doesn't help your business, and at least in the long run. So the great thing about Plexus is that it's a legacy business that we'll be doing for the rest of our lives, right? If we choose to retire or will it to our children, right? It's so incredible that we can make sure this business is something that fits into your life. And so I'm going to give you my best tips for getting more done in less time, so that you can have success and still live an amazing life and feel like you're being productive and moving forward and working in that momentum or working however you need to in this stage, right? There will always be more than we have time for. So just know that. You've got to ask yourself, which are the most important things that we need to get done today? The most time sensitive, the most impactful, prioritize those. You'll never have time for the things that you say I'll get to later. You won't. You just won't. Your day is going to run out and you're going to realize that all these to-dos are just going to fill your mind and give you anxiety and completely like ruin your day when you constantly feel like you're not getting enough done. But the key is to make the time for the few important things in your life that are going to make the biggest impact. Okay. So I have done a good job in my life of kind of morphing my time into like not the nooks and crannies working as much, but time blocking, whatever that means. Maybe time blocking for you is a 15-minute break at work. Maybe time blocking for you is an hour and a half kids nap time. Maybe time blocking for you is 2 hours after the kids go to bed. Whatever that means in your life, set a place for Plexus in your schedule. Promise yourself that you're going to work Plexus in that time, and then don't break the promises you make with yourself, right? So that gives yourself credibility. You'll start believing in yourself and you start forming good habits. So if you set aside time to do the things that are important to you, it'll start to come more naturally, right? If you don't let yourself get distracted during that time. Just like if you know your family needs to eat dinner at 6 o'clock, you're going to set aside time to make dinner, right? Because like everybody needs food. So it's important that you get that done, right? So think about that in your Plexus business. As much as, we might not want to put a lot of pressure on like earning income, making money, like we need money to thrive in life, right? Like everything costs money. So if you would like to make more money, you've got to be more productive in your business, right? If your family needs money for things, if you want to give to local causes, all of that, if you want to save for the future, we need money, right? So let's spend our time wisely, making it profitable for our family. Okay. But my advice is don't try and multitask. Okay. There's a surefire way to get less done and take more time doing it. And that's multitasking. Okay. Do one thing at a time. Society likes to tell us that we can do all the things, but it's just not going to be productive for you. Your body needs, energy, emotion, time, brain power to switch between tasks. So every time we have to switch from writing an email to answering a phone call or, writing a post to sending a sample, right? That switch in activities is actually costing you brain power. So I'm all about batching stuff, blocking off time to like right now I'm going to send samples today. Like on Wednesdays is my sample sending day and I mail them out, you just do that and kind of chug through it and batch it that way. So think about that when you're switching activities. I try to really make sure I'm doing like all my potential reach outs all at one time. All of my, follow-up messages to potentials or my connections with my team, they're all batched. And I'll kind of show you how I do that systematically as well. But I really don't recommend doing like one of these and one of those and one of these and one of those, because you have to mentally switch gears between every single activity, and that's going to cost you time. And I want you to think about, kind of as I'm talking tonight, think about your goals, why they're meaningful for you. We're heading into a new year. We're closing out a year, right? So think about what you want to look like a year from now, right? Sitting on this call next year, how do you want to feel? What do you want your rank to be? What do you want your income to be? What do you want your impact to be on your team or in your community, right? And, be realistic. Maybe give yourself a stretch goal. Don't be a downer, right? You can achieve a lot of things. And I know sometimes we like to look back and think like, okay, well, the last 3 months I did this, so I can only do this. Well, why can't you switch gears and do 3 times that much next month, right? There's nothing that says you can't learn, grow, expand, and become more capable. Okay. You're not going to be replacing a full-time income by like working half an hour 3 days a week, right? Like that's not realistic. Okay. It's probably not going to happen in your life. But give your business the time it deserves to help you achieve the goals you set and like the dreams you have for you and your family. But you've got to get focused. Okay. If you've heard this before, but if you're going to work plexus like a hobby in the nooks and crannies, it's going to pay you like a hobby. That's something that's just like the last thing you think about at the end of the night. But if you make time, like you're running a business and you work it seriously, it's going to start seriously paying you like a business. Okay. Like a career. All right. So look at the next week ahead, right? Like when are those blocks of time? If it's a large chunk or a small chunk, if it's late night, if it's midday, if it's early morning, like whatever your jam is, or maybe you do all your reach outs in the morning and you do all your follow-ups at night, whatever, right? Find out what that is though, and work with it. Maybe you do shift work, right? So certain days look differently. And on the days that you work, this is what your work schedule looks like. But on the weekends when you're with your family, you get up at 6:00 and you work for an hour before you serve breakfast to the kids or whatever. Okay. But just decide that, set reminders in your phone, write it in your planner, write it on the front of your notebook, like wherever you need to write that. Talk with your family, get with your husband. Like everybody needs to be on the same page. So it's not like mommy, or your husband's not like, why are you doing that right now? You need to get off the computer. You're like, no, this was my work time. We talked about this. We discussed this, so everybody knows what's up. My husband's with the kids right now. He knew I had this call. he's on daddy duty right now. And that needs to be discussed beforehand. And the best part about blocking your time off well to complete business tasks is that the rest of the time you can be fully with the people you love most. You don't even have to really think about your business if you don't want to, because you rocked out all your IPAs, you got all your stuff done, you get your posts up, you did everything, right? And you did it in the time that you set for yourself. You kept that promise, right? You don't have to be glued to your phone. You don't have to stress about not getting things done. You can actually have freedom during those non-work times because you've made the space to accomplish the needed tasks during the day or the week, and you don't have to have anxiety about it the rest of the time, wondering like if and when you'll get it done, right? So I know if you're somebody who feels really spontaneous and you just like fly by the seat of your pants and you're like, I'm not a planner, I'm just disorganized, that's just me. Well, you might find yourself living in a high stress space constantly because there's an endless to-do list that doesn't get finished, or things keep getting added, or we keep trying to do things when we'll find the time, but we never find the time. Okay. So if you're one of those people, you might need to slow down a bit so you can speed up later, right? So slow down and decide those times. And within those times, you're going to want to find a system that you can stick with. If you like spreadsheets, great, do that. I know somebody that works their business kind of like they have like a client management system because they're somebody who's in sales. And so they're like really spreadsheety, and that's not my thing, but I love them for that. And they do everything on their computer. If you like paper planners, great. I'm a paper planner person. My new one for 2022 is right here. I literally just got it today. Should have got it sooner, but I got one today. And I'm going to show you how I use that if you're interested in that. If you like a mix of all the things, great. If you want to do like semi-digital, semi-paper, great. Whatever it is, make sure it's something you can keep up with. Make sure it's something that's mobile that you can take with you. Okay. Don't have one file on your desktop computer that doesn't go anywhere with you, right? Make sure it's something that you can move around and take if you're traveling or if you're out and about or whatever. And it's not too labor intensive for you to maintain. Okay. If it's hard, takes too much time, too many clicks, too many movements, you're not going to do it. Okay. We like convenience. We like fast. We want something in your face and easy. And while you're at it, commit to a system for like a few months before like hopping to something new that you think will be better, or you're going to find yourself constantly like in transition, not finding stability. You're going to make a list over here and a list over here, and then a computer list, and then a thing on your phone. And it's like, you never tried something long enough for it to stick. Right. So I'm going to share with you what works for me. And even though it's maybe not something you'll totally adopt, I hope you'll find like some helpful nuggets of information that maybe you can put into practice. But one of the first things that I do is organizing my people. Okay. So you've got all these different types of people in your business that require different interactions and different relationships, right? So I have a hot 20 list that I make every single month. These are people that I want to try and help get started with Plexus this month. I write them down in my paper planner because that's my jam, right? So I have that and I refresh it every month. I actually have it written, I pre-write in my planner some things. And at the first of every month, the first day, I'm like, hot 20, write your new hot 20 list for this month. And I have it in there. I also have all kinds of reminders on my phone. It's obnoxious how many reminders I have on my phone, but honestly, I'll forget stuff. So hot 20 list, it's like, those are the people I'm going to make sure to engage with, follow up with, invite to the things, all that, right? Then I have a potentials list that's literally everyone I have ever talked to about Plexus ever in the history of Plexus, right? Of my Plexus career on my phone, everybody. And this is a list that I'll tell you about a little later, how I use it, but I make like a little note of what they message me about, or if they tried a certain sample, or if I reach out to them, or whatever the status is of that conversation, right? Or if they give me an objection later, I'll write that down. I'll note that it was like cost objection, having a baby, moving, whatever the thing is. I'll just note it so I'm aware of it for next time. Then I have an ongoing list of new friends and followers that I'm just trying to build a relationship with. Now, if you're friending a lot of people, this can get kind of overwhelming if you're keeping track of everybody. But I'll show you in my planner about how I don't let my new friends fall through the cracks, because I'm pretty intentional about who I'm adding as friends and followers, especially now in my business where I've had 6 years to kind of grow my network, right? So I'm being very selective at who I add as friends and followers and stuff. And then you've got people on your team, right? You've got customers, ambassadors, but within that, you've got like veteran customers and ambassadors, and you've got brand new ones, right? So you can kind of see that there's like all these lists of people. And on top of that, you might have business builders. Okay. And all these people kind of require different cadences of interaction. They require different kinds of interaction. You've got to kind of manage your time with all of them, right? And they're all important in their different ways. So I'm going to kind of show you how I keep them all straight. And know exactly who to contact and on which days and all of that. So you don't sit down to like, great, I have time to do IPAs. And then it's like, now what? What do I do? Right? This is the answer. So I told you I made a list, my hot 20 list at the beginning of every month. I make sure that they are the ones that I invite first to events and things. So if your team calendar comes out for the month and you've got an event going on, on that day in your planner, you're going to write like invite hot 20 to your December sip and see, right? And so whatever day you need to do that, write down that you're going to do it on that day in your planner or whatever system you use, right? And as I go through these like hot 20 lists, some of them kind of land on the like objection potentials list people, and I kind of fill in as I go. So as I talk to my hot 20 list people and they're like, nah, I'm not really interested right now, as soon as I take someone off of that list, I am quickly adding someone back on. So remember that, like if your list is kind of dwindling, and by mid-month, you're like, now it's like a hot 12, fill it back in, because the end of the month, you know what the end of the month feels like, right? It's bananas, and you want to have a lot of people to follow up with. So here's how I use my planner. I sent a little image to Emily, but I don't know if she got it or not, but I will show you how I use my planner. In case she didn't get it. Oh, she's screen sharing. Yay. Okay. So you see this image. Hopefully you can see it. If you're on front, it probably looks tiny, but I'm going to tell you how I use it, because this system has worked for me. It works for my team for years now. Okay. So see the hot pink in the top middle? That's where I write my follow-ups with potentials, because they're at the top of the day in my planner. I have a planner with the vertical columns for each day. So I literally have lined lists for each day of people, and I start at the top. every single day. So the top in pink, I have potentials, and I have 3 to 5 people on each day. If you're not someone that has a system set up yet, what I did to get started was I went literally through my messenger at the time, because I didn't have any lists, my potentials list and my messenger. I wrote each potential in my list over the next several weeks, adding about 3 to 5 every day. Okay. So 3 to 5 potentials at the very top of my day, every single day, until I ran out of my list. Right. And because I didn't want to be overwhelming, right? I don't need to contact 100 people on Tuesday. Okay. I'm going to span them out, right? Spread them out. Okay. Top priority, potentials at the top. Each weekday. I personally don't do a lot of work on weekends. If you're somebody who needs to do all your work on weekends, this will be different for you, right? Obviously, if sales are ending or trial groups are happening or whatever, I might have more on a given day, but overall, I did a few on each day. Okay, the next section is where I put my customers and ambassadors who are just starting their products. Okay, I chat with these people every few days as they're getting started. Usually through their first 6 weeks, it's like an every 3-day contact from me, and then I kind of work out from there. But that's my next priority of people, right? Like the people who just started their products, they are top priority. So as I'm going down the list each day, I'm like potentials, newbies, like that's my order of importance, right? At the bottom, I have my seasoned ambassadors and business builders, people that I need to connect with regularly, but like don't need to be in super close contact with them every few days. Like maybe I might contact them, weekly to assess their goals or their progress or whatever. If it's a new person, trying to go silver or something, obviously I'll be talking to them really often because I'm working with them, right? I'm probably in 3-way chats with them and stuff, but not as much as my own newbie or potential if they're like a seasoned ambassador or a business builder. On the weekends is where I add my new friends. Oh, excuse me. Can you see me? There we go. Sorry, my thing clicked off. That's where I add my new friends. And I add engagements on the weekend. I do all my engagements on the weekend because that works for me. Again, I batch my work. So when I add a new friend and they accept my friend's friend request, I actually add them to a separate friends list on Facebook. I have a list called Potentials on Facebook, and I add everybody to that. So as I see my feed, or maybe I go to the birthdays list on Facebook, when you hover over their name, you can see what list people are on. So I know if it's a Plexus person, if it's somebody already on my team, or if it's a potential because they're on my potentials friends list, right? So they accept my friend request, I add them to my potentials list on Facebook, and then I'll write them on a weekend, usually like that weekend or a couple weeks later, whenever I have like a free spot, to engage with their content. Okay. So this is how I regularly engage with new friends. And every single weekend on Saturdays and Sundays, I put those people there. And whenever they accept my friend request, I always go quickly to their profile and quickly engage with their content then also. But then it's about a weekly thing, maybe every couple weeks, right? And then each week, kind of in the notes section, I list anyone who might be attending an event or trial group that week. So I can put, a note on that day of my planner to remind the event people that this is going on, or we're starting our 3-day trial, or inviting them to an upcoming event or whatever, right? So I always have that list on kind of my weekly sidebar, because there's usually something happening that week. Either I did a bunch of sampling messages and I have people trying samples. We have an online event, there's a local sip and see, or there's a 3-day trial going on or whatever, right? So I have whatever kind of weekly happening is over in my notes side. And on the bottom, I track my points, PV, and team ads daily. This is helpful for me to go back and compare past months, or, how many team ads did we have on, the 6th of November or September or whatever, right? Or whatever month I want to look back at, or what were my points, before and after subs ran? What does that look like for me? What can I kind of expect? Or are we seeing, a rise or a dip, and whatever that means? So I track those and I write them down. And so along the base of each day, I'll note any special trainings, IPA challenges, or other events I'm running or would like to plug into that day. Zoom call, like right now, I have this call on the bottom of this day in my planner. Like, this is what's happening tonight. So everything, if I open up my week, literally everything is right there. I go down to do my IPAs and I start at the top. Boom, 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 boom. And I'm like, boop, and I'm done in like 30 to 40 minutes with like messaging people, right? And then I can focus on making sure I've got a post up or two, right? Making sure that I've posted on the team page, making sure, I don't know, whatever, if you're doing reach outs that day, or if there's a special challenge going on, or, then I can worry about other stuff. But this list to run down really makes it concise and quick for you to complete your work. And this is why I recommend you keep some type of organization list or planner or schedule of some kind of activity that you're doing, so that the things that are urgent and important get done first, so that you don't get on your computer and then start commenting on all your team's posts that are going down your feed, or you get in the group chat and somebody's talking about how cool it is that the Mega X lids fit on the other capsule bottles, and you're like, oh my gosh, I do that too, and like, like it just wastes your time. So don't do that. I get on my laptop and I go right into my messenger and I'm directly typing in the names that I need to speak with or I need to engage with, right? I hardly ever scroll my feed. I make sure that when I am going to be connecting with some of my business builders, I also visit their page to engage with their content, right? Like you always want to bump the posts of the people on your team. But guys, if it's important and urgent, do it first. If it's important, but like not super urgent, then let that chill for a second. Like even potentials can wait a couple hours. You know what I mean? Like they're not going to like disappear. You can answer their question like tonight after bedtime. You don't have to do it right now, and the things that aren't really urgent, but also not super important for you to do, delegate them. Like ask a team member, ask somebody to help you with it. Ask a sideline if they've got, you don't need to, reinvent the wheel right in an IPA challenge every month, right? Somebody's got one out there that's done, or an online event or whatever, right? Even posts, don't like rack your brain trying to write the world's most groundbreaking post every single time. Like that is a waste of time. I mean, I can get into posting later, but I just really believe in like specifically scheduling your time so that you aren't stealing time away from the people that you love, and making sure that when you are in that time, you are making it as productive as possible. Because we all know that when we feel like we're checking stuff off a list, we've got a lot of like confidence and high self-esteem and we feel productive. And then you know what, when you start doing your IPAs, there's a reason why we preach them all the time, because they work, right? When you do them, the fruit comes. Okay. So if you're somebody who feels like I don't have time, I'm not scheduled, I'm not organized, hopefully this was helpful for you, because it's something that really was helpful for me. I had to kind of develop these things and it's changed my business totally. So I don't know if you have questions or anything. I tried not to go too long. Sorry.
No, this was wonderful. The chat is on fire right now with so many questions. Do you
Oh,
mind
good.
if
Sorry.
I read to you a few of the questions?
No, go ahead.
So the first one that I'm seeing is from Liz. She's saying, what do your reminders? Because you said you have a ton of reminders that are going off on your phone. What do your reminders say? And I think that was in reference to the Hot 20 list.
Yes, I have a Hot 20 once a month to make that. I get a lot of, so Facebook is my bread and butter, you guys. I know a lot of people are like preaching Instagram, and I love that. I love Instagram, but Facebook has not stopped being productive for me. So I have another reminder that goes off every Monday. I'm in 3 to 5 interest groups on Facebook that I'm very active in, and I get a lot of my potentials from there. So every Monday I ask a question and engage in my interest groups and friend people from there. So I have 2 little kids, so I'm in like due date groups and boy mom groups and local moms groups, and so like a lot of my team are young moms. So whatever your jam is, get in there and start being active, ask questions, start engaging, and I friend request people that I fit my ideal customer profile, and I do that once a week, every Monday. And then I do a power half hour every Tuesday with my team. I mean, yes, it's in my phone, so I don't forget, but now it's like something that's pretty rhythm on our team now, that we do. If you ever seen Brooke Hemingway's 3, 6, 9, 12 power half hour format, yeah, I use that. Works like a charm, helps new people know what to do. And then I have a twice a week reminder to go through the birthday list on Facebook. And Facebook is lovely because it gives you a curated list of people to reach out to on their birthday. Like it literally tells you. And so I can go down that list, hover over a name, and see if they're on my potentials list. If they are, I send them a birthday sample message celebrating them, offering them a sample for their birthday. And I just say like, I saw you had have a birthday this week. I don't make it like super specific, but I do it twice a week, and then I send out samples like the next day. So it's not like 25 people all at once. It's usually a handful each time. So those are most of my reminders. I'm on my phone, or else I would get into my reminders app. I'm trying to think of what else. I think that's it. Besides like just doing my IPAs and stuff. I mean, I have reminders for events and things, but does that help?
Liz, did that help answer your question? Perfect. Another question was, with your potential follow-ups, are those also new reach outs?
No, those are So my potential follow-ups, I do my reach outs during my power half hours. I batch a bunch of them during power half hour on those Tuesday power halves. And then the twice a week birthday sample times, which are usually Wednesdays and Fridays. Those are kind of my reach out times, because then I'm doing at least a handful. It's usually like 5 to 7 each of the days, plus usually like 3 to 5 during a power half hour. So I'm getting quite a few reach outs done throughout the week. I know some people will say do like 1 to 3 every day, but I just work in batches better. I find that if I just like birthday message, like it just can knock it out a lot faster than doing like one and then moving on.
So for your birthday messages, do you offer to send a sample to every single person, or just those ideal customers that you have? And could you give us an example of kind of like what you would say to somebody on their birthday, offering them a sample?
Yes, and I can send this to you if you want. I'm opening up. I have my phone propped against my laptop right now to hold me up. But I offer them to everyone. I'm trying to search for my birthday message. There we go. I offer a sample to everybody. And you might feel like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of samples, but not everybody, first of all, not everyone checks their messages. Second of all, not everybody wants it. Like newsflash, not everybody wants plexus. I also find that even people might be like interested, they'll ask a lot of questions, like, I'm not sure, like it just kind of, I don't ever feel like I'm sending out an overwhelming amount of samples. It's like a few every week, a handful, right? But they're of the people who are really interested, right? Like the people who I generally have conversations with. So my message says, happy birthday. I hope you have the most incredible day, or I hope you have had the most incredible week, depending if it's like actually their birthday or not. I know we don't know each other really well, but I wanted to take some time to connect with you and celebrate you. I love getting free things on my birthday, and maybe you do too. Have you ever tried Plexus gut health products? I would love to send you a free sample to celebrate your special day. Zero pressure. Giving is my thing, and Plexus has changed my life, so I love sharing it. That's what it says.
Directly. I love that, because you get free whatever dessert or a free Sephora thing on your birthday, and you don't feel like that salesy. That's like that's a really great way to say that. Thank you. Yeah, I would love, if you don't mind sending that over to us, and share it to our team.
It was rough. And people are super receptive because they're like in a good mood on their birthday. And sometimes I'll like, that's the one at the top of I have a note with I have a million notes too, with all the scripts of all the things that I use all the time. And so that's the one that's like, if it's actually their birthday today, I usually send them that one. But if it's like, hey, I see you've had a birthday this week, I hope you had a good one, whatever, it just kind of starts a little bit differently. But yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, we'll do one last question, because I know that you are in your hotel and your boys are probably like busting at the seams. Okay. So Kara said, where do you put all of your posting content? Does that go into your calendar too?
So I don't do that. Sometimes I'm not so great at content, you guys. Content planning, I should say. I usually plan my stuff like a few days in advance, because I'll like look ahead of like what's happening this weekend or what's happening in the next few days. And I actually have, when you can save posts on Facebook, you can make, what are they called? Not albums, whatever they're called, collections or something. I have one called This Week. And whenever when I have a second to think about like what's happening this week, and I know there's a few like Plexus posts I want to use or verbiage I want to pull from, I'll save those and move them over into that This Week album or whatever it's called, collection on Facebook. So I know that, and then once I use them, I delete them out of there. So every few days I'll throw like saved content in there. But as for like writing my own content, I have them just in the notes of my phone. So I have posts, like literally a folder called posts that I'll write things in. And so I constantly have like an ongoing kind of list of ideas that have come to me. Some of them just need like a ending. Some of them just need a photo to be put with them. But I'll maybe write them. Like I even have one written for when we move into the new house. Like I've kind of been like throwing my thoughts in there, and I'm like, once we get in, like add a photo of like our family in front of the fireplace, and so I have that in there, but I don't write that in my planner. A gal on my team who is wonderful with content, she writes in like all the national holidays and stuff, like all the special days. She uses the same planner system, but on the month of the month view in that planner, she writes down like all the special, like National Cat Day and whatever, and starts like rounding up stuff. And she does like business testimonies on Fridays, and she kind of does that rhythm. So if you want to write down to just give you like an idea of what things to post, to make sure you're posting a variety of things and not just like pink drink selfie every day. Don't get stuck in that rut. But
yeah, this is so good. And I just think that it is so important to eliminate the chaos that
mhm,
comes from being reactive all the time. So even if like, if hearing this right here is like, I really want to do this, I really, really want to have this organization in my life, but where do I even start? Like, I don't know about doing these notes. I don't know about having the system. I need to figure out who's in my hot 20. Like, don't let that overwhelm you and paralyze you. Focus on one thing at a time. Just like Allie said, like, don't worry about multitasking, because oftentimes that's like multi half doing things and not actually accomplishing anything. So just one thing at a time. So maybe if you are feeling that way of like, I don't even know where to begin, maybe start with your hot 20. We're still at the beginning of December. Make out a list of the 20 people that you would really love to work with, the people you'd really love to help. Do one thing at a time. Then maybe start looking into some blitzing. I know that Bethany Spears, she talks about how she does like customer care, I think every Monday. And that doesn't only help her with her retention and helping her people, but that also helps encourage her because she's hearing really great stories from her customers. And guess what? That happens then. Then that helps her with content for her posting because she's now hearing these really great positive stories. So just one thing at a time. And I love your idea. All of your ideas are brilliant. I know that our team is just eating this up. So many people in the chat, so many people in the threads talking about how helpful this has been. So I'm so thankful for you, Allie. Thank you so much for everybody jumping on tonight. If you guys are in my book study over the power of five, stay on for just a few minutes. We will wrap up a little bit of this. Everyone else, we will see you guys soon. Thank you so much, Allie. Good luck on your move tomorrow.
welcome. Thank you so
Bye. Hi, you guys. I saw a few things come through. It has been an insane weekend. So I know that a few of you have just gotten your books. So raise your hand if you have had a chance to read some of the intro and the growth chapter. Raise your hand if you have. Sarah, Caroline. Okay. So let's, I don't want to waste anybody's time. The chapters are super, super short, you guys, and it's a really easy read. I woke up this morning and I read the whole thing like in 20, 30 minutes. So why don't we do this? Because I don't want to not talk about the growth part. The growth part is really, really good. So why don't we reconnect next Monday, which is the 13th, and let's accomplish what we did today. So the intro, the first chapter, which is overgrowth, and then let's go ahead and next chapter is connection. That's called Power 2. So not chapter 2, but it's called Power 2. So let's read through that. Does that sound okay? So we can just stay on this schedule. So that means you're going to read to page 70. Don't let that scare you. They're super short, super easy, fast read. So we'll read through growth, connection, and that intro. Does that sound okay? Does it show you guys on your tracking? Like, is it on its way, getting close to you? I saw Carrie just got hers in the mail. Who else just got theirs today? Was that Rachel that I saw? No. Okay. Carol.
I think it was Heather.
Heather. That's who it was. That's who it was. Okay. All right. Well, let's try to reconnect and go through all three of those first three chapters. Sound good? Okay. We will see you guys next Monday. Thanks for being on. Bye, you all.